Talking season at its zenith here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by and lock in for a big Tuesday. So here's the deal. We've got the College Football Show, of course. This is where you have to be every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. But new to Tuesday, Iowa Live at 5. So we get done here at 5 Eastern. We head on over to the Iowa channel to talk Hawkeyes with Corey Bratta. And then Corey and I get together for the Big Ten Live Show. This is our first show tonight. We relaunch the Big Ten Live Show. Corey and myself, 6 Eastern. Plenty of guests, I believe. I've lined up a ton. So we shall see with Indiana, Illinois, Ohio State, Rutgers, Nebraska. I think I got the 5 from the Big Ten. And let's not forget the ACC kickoff today as well. Miami, SMU, Stanford, Virginia at the podium. So leave those comments and questions there in the chat. We appreciate your super chat contributions. It's actually more effective to contribute here to the Voice of College Football, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. Those links are in the description section as well. Also, keep in mind that you can most effectively contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny by using the Amazon link. All right, let's get to Big Ten Media Days and bring in, got our guy Alec Keyser stopping by from our IU channel. Check him out every week on, I can't remember. We got too many shows, Alec. Is it Monday night, Tuesday night?
We're tonight. We're live tonight, right off the
Tuesday
back of
night.
Media Day,
Okay.
and I'm pumped. You said talking season. It's my favorite time of the year, and I'm glad Curt Signetti is front and center for us to talk about.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I've not heard one word uttered from Big Ten Media Days, just too much work to do today. So you're going to have to fill me in on what Curt Signetti actually did state today.
I guess I'll bring it right from the chat for Will ND's question. He said, Mark, what are your thoughts on Curt Signetti's comment on scheduling? Virginia isn't much better than most group of 5 teams. The headline grabbing quote from Signetti this year is going to be that obviously scheduling comment. Somebody asked him about canceling the Virginia game and why. His response was, he gave a very thoughtful response, basically like it was about money and Indiana's adding an extra home game. We play the 9 conference games, but then he did throw the jab that, we looked at the SEC and he said like of 12 of 16 SEC programs, like they played X amount of group of 5 teams versus like non-group of 5 teams. And it basically said we're adopting the SEC model of scheduling.
Yeah. Not really, but yeah, if you want to skew the numbers, there's no team in the SEC is playing exclusively group of 5 teams in their non-conference schedule. But as soon as I saw that, I said, Alec, I could not, of course, I just had other things that were of a greater priority, but believe me, I wanted to produce a video instantly when that happened. I do think we've got a bit of a log jam, and I, unfortunately, Alec, need to prioritize Minnie since she is at Big Ten Media Days, and I think she needs to get to another news conference, and she just popped up here. So are you able to hang out?
No worries. I'm around.
Cool. Thank you, Alec. All right. Minnie, look at Vegas Minnie's here.
Vegas Minnie. That's right.
Yes.
This has been so fun. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, perfect.
You look good. You sound good.
Oh, it's been an exciting day.
Okay, tell us all about it.
Well, Tony Petitti, he's kicked it off, and he's focused on more conference games to matter in November. That's one of the things that he stated, and I'm pretty sure that you guys already have seen that. And there were a lot of questions. I don't know if it was aired or not, the questions that are asked afterwards. Did you, from the media?
Were they aired?
Yes.
I could not tell you.
Okay. Well,
maybe somebody in the chat can. I've been a bad observer of Big Ten Media Days today. I have seen 0.
Oh, okay. Well, So there's been a lot of questions about the conference and whether or not there should be we should try and make the SEC play 9 conference games and those sort of things. It was interesting because he said, we don't care how many conference games anyone plays. They want an allocated system. So basically, I think kind of across the board, let's just go ahead and decide this is what we're going to do. And it's across the board. So he kind of, backed away from that question a little bit, but it was interesting because Brett Bielema, he was the first one up, but then Curt Signetti had a whole lot to say about whether or not the SEC should play that 9th conference game. And he kept saying, we need to standardize the schedule across the board. Meaning, if everyone plays 9 conference games, and that's what we do.
What's amusing about that is Curt Signetti should be the last person on the planet to be talking about standardizing schedules since his team doesn't play anybody outside the conference. Maybe we should standardize that you have to play somebody outside the conference. That's a stupid, asinine statement to make.
He even kind of said that. He said, we just figured we'd adopt what the SEC's doing. Take their philosophy with strength of schedule. That's exactly what he said. And it was pretty amusing.
And then you grilled him, right, Minnie? You jumped in. You grabbed the mic from.
No, I did not. He's something else, though. He is a lot of fun.
Yes, he is.
And then
he's doing a heck of a job too.
Mike Locksley, he got up and he was kind of asked some of the same questions, and he said basically whatever Curt said, I agree 100%.
Okay.
It's like he has it all figured out.
If I was a head coach in the Big Ten, I as well would take the SEC to task about the number of games in the conference schedule, the 9 versus the 8. But it's just humorous that the two guys that are asked about this and then respond in such a way play a bunch of high school teams in their non-conference schedule. Neither one of those two teams are playing anyone this year.
Well, Indiana plays Penn State this year.
No, I mean outside the conference. Neither one of those
outside of
schools
No, you're right.
scheduled anyone. Maryland is another embarrassment. They don't play anyone.
Well, now that was an interesting. What Mike Locksley had to say was pretty interesting because he said that he lost his team last year, with only 4 wins, and that he's basically said, I'm never going to let that happen again. So, I really just, more than anything, I think I developed more respect for these head coaches and kind of all the different things that they have to deal with. Brett Bielema, he started it off, and he was probably one of the best to speak about it. Just all the different angles, how it's changed, how now they're able to use PayPal to pay out those the revenue sharing. Just how different that is.
So Minnie, let's back up a few hours. And so you got to Vegas, you got on site, you're at Allegiant Stadium.
No, Mandalay Bay.
You're at Mandalay Bay.
Here.
Okay. You're at Mandalay Bay. That's what I originally thought. Then anyway, so you're at Mandalay Bay. How's the setup? I got to think it's pretty impressive.
Beautiful. It is beautiful. It's a huge conference center. We're on like the 3rd floor of this gigantic conference center. And it just has, on the 3rd floor, they have like an area where all like ESPN, CBS is set up. And they have lunch for all of us, like really nice breakfasts and lunch. Sorry, I keep doing that. So yeah, it's just really nice, really beautiful here.
All right, so I'm missing out. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
free lunch.
so let's see. It's what about 4:15 Eastern? So it's 1:15 there. So all the
Right.
head coaches have hit the podium, the main stage, correct?
All six for today. So Wednesday there will be six more, and then Thursday we'll finish with six. And then they have 40, I think it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes for each coach to be at the podium that spoke today. The podium's kind of set up behind me, and that's where you can, kind of have a free for all, ask questions, and they'll do 30 minutes for the athletes.
So we have yet to do any of those breakout sessions with the coaches and the players.
We're right in between it.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, it's really informational, I would say. Of course, everybody is hitting on their highlights for last season, talking about that. But, of course, I wouldn't be me if I didn't really focus on Nebraska and what Matt Rhule said. If you want to know what he said, I loved his quote.
Yeah, I have stated a number of times that I am more impressed with Matt Rhule's public delivery, his speaking delivery, than any coach in the Big Ten.
Well, he didn't give very long of a speech. His was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
No,
His
he's
was
going to be
probably
great
the
at the
shortest.
breakout session.
Yeah, I can't wait. But his quote that I loved was, "We're gonna go make a run at this year." And if you know Matt Rhule and how he talks, that's actually a big statement for him to make. He doesn't do that.
No, he doesn't. So he must have confidence in this team. He knows what he sees every day and feels good about it. He's also looked at the schedule.
That's true. That's true. Nebraska has the easiest schedule in the Big Ten.
So I hear.
Good on them. Good on them.
All right. Any particular players from the Huskers or otherwise that you're looking forward to hearing from?
Yes. I've already seen Dylan Riola, but he was talking with somebody, so I didn't want to interrupt. Of course, I want to see all the Husker players. I want to see as many players as I can. Yeah. So this is going to be really exciting. I can't wait for the breakout session.
All right. Minnie Hunt, working for the Voice of College Football there. You can also catch her on Coronation, of course, on Mondays and Thursdays. Work in the room there, the Big Ten Media Days.
Yes.
Very good.
I've also shared with you and Jackson some videos from today. So hopefully you guys can post those if you want to.
We have posted one. We will continue. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
All right,
any
Minnie.
questions you want me to ask any of the head coaches?
Yeah. I want you to ask Kirk Signetti when he's going to, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get back on the scheduling rant. No, I'm sure you will come up with some excellent questions.
Okay. No, seriously, I do want to know. What is your thought on this? Okay.
Well, my thought is we don't have a governing body in college football, and we don't have a commissioner to hold anyone accountable to a standardized schedule. Therefore, the SEC could say to the Big Ten, why don't you go back to an 8-game schedule? Who's to say who should be playing 8, who should be playing 9 games?
Right.
Now, I do believe that a 9-game schedule is better for the sport because these conferences are so large that you're already missing approximately 8 teams in your own conference that you can't play. So what's the point in playing in a conference if you're not playing as many teams as possible in the conference?
Right.
But I don't really think that the Big Ten, everybody has freedom of speech, so they can say whatever they want, but I don't know what the Big Ten can say about the SEC. The SEC has autonomy to do whatever they want, and
Right.
the Big Ten to do whatever they want. And until we have somebody that oversees the sport to standardize it, then
Yes. That's the key right there. I think that's who's to say which is better? I mean, obviously, more conference games are better just for the sport. But if we're not, and then it goes into the strength of schedule, you know? Are the non-conference games going to matter? Somebody asked a question about, we had 4 teams in the Big Ten that were at the top. Why at the end of the season should they have to then go in and play, you know, uh, the playoffs? Why can't we just have an automatic qualifier?
instead
And
of playing the conference championship game.
yes, yes. And I mean, that was a good question. But then Tony Petiti said it's because more games are just better for the sport. More games are good. And I think Brett Bielema even answered that question as well. And he said, I don't know one head coach that would sit up here and tell you they don't want to play another game. So they want to play more games.
Well, they want to keep a Big Ten championship game because it makes money, and it's a great showcase for the sport and for the conference. However, once we expanded to 12 teams, we know that both of those teams are making the playoffs. So what's on the line? That's the
Right.
issue. And if we go to 16 teams, that Big Ten championship team won't even get a bye.
Right. That's where you lose. I mean, I don't know. It's all interesting. It's very thought-provoking. And I think, all of these coaches, including the Big Ten commissioner, have all heard it all. So just trying to figure out what works best.
And they are kind of put on the spot from this perspective. These coaches, they don't control any of this. They don't control the schedule. They don't make the conference schedule. They don't make the non-conference games. The athletic director is in charge of the non-conference games. They don't go out there and schedule. They just play the teams that are on the schedule. So they're a good resource to get their opinion because obviously they've got a ton of knowledge and they care and they're invested in it, but they have no decision-making power over the scheduling situation.
Right. Exactly. That's part of the problem. I think Brett Bielema actually spoke to that. He said, in the Big Ten, it's a little different than other conferences because you can actually go and sit down and on a monthly basis talk with Tony Petiti instead of getting told, last minute what's going on and then having to react to it. However, he said it's different. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that the Big Ten is trying to, do things differently and more fair.
Minnie, do you have a mobile camera there?
Yes.
Is that like your laptop or like one that you're shooting on right now?
Yeah, this is my laptop.
Yeah. Can you show us the room?
Oh, sure. So, it looks just like a conference room, but there's the stage.
It's got a little purple and black. That gives it maybe a little Vegas feel.
Yeah. But what's interesting, I walk around actually. I'll show you. You never know who we're going to run into. Okay, so right just behind me is the Big Ten network. And it looks like they're setting up right now. They're going to start shooting.
These people at the Big Ten are going to see that there's a name tag that wasn't used. It says Mark Rogers on it. And they're going to say, this guy didn't show up. We're never going to give him a credential again.
Oh, you can see just right behind me.
Yeah, we can see. Very nice. We're not keeping you from lunch, are we, Minnie?
No, I'm not. I already had a big breakfast. And then, oh, it looks like there's a podium going on right now with Matt Rhule. So I better get going.
Oh, yes. Can't miss that.
Yeah. No.
All right, Minnie. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Talk to you later.
See you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Good stuff with Minnie on site for the Voice of College Football there at Big Ten Media Days. How about that? All right. Let's get back to our Indiana discussion. And we so much appreciate Alec for hanging out. Alec, sorry about that. But
no worries.
Sandwich in her report there between the coaches, and certainly didn't want her to miss Matt Rhule because that's her guy. Okay.
I mean, I just think it's funny that there's just a Mark Rogers media pass sitting for you in Vegas that's going to go unused.
Yeah. Unfortunately made the decision not to take the big trip. So good for Minnie to do it all on her own. She's doing a heck of a job out there.
Yeah, boots on the ground. Love it.
Boots on the ground for the Voice of College Football. Thanks to Minnie.
I do want to echo something she said, though, because she heaped a lot of praise on Curt Signetti. Even surprisingly for a Cornhuskers fan, was kind of swinging the sword for me as I was kind of down there in the hub, like waiting for the segment to finish, which I appreciated. But Signetti, he talked about wanting a structured schedule or like a systemized schedule for so everybody's on the same playing field. Because other than that, people are just going to kind of do exactly what we've seen. We've seen teams like Penn State schedule exactly the same way Indiana is scheduling and catching zero of the flack. But Signetti in that same spiel talked about not being opposed to playing a Big Ten SEC challenge, and talked about the SEC and the Big Ten being by far the two best leagues, and the focus on the conference games essentially is more important than whatever happens in the non-conference.
Yeah. Unless, and that's the difficult part of this. So I may rail on schedules and I may rail on formats for playoffs and that sort of thing, but I do admit that every decision that's made impacts something else, meaning it's difficult to achieve all these goals at the same time, because we start from the standpoint of having unbalanced conferences, and they'll never be balanced because obviously the greater the conferences, the more they've been able to lure even better teams to their conference. And that's made them even more unbalanced, and that's not going to change. So we start from a starting block where the conferences aren't even. And then we try to build out a playoff system that's fair, and that's difficult to do. And then we get the scheduling aspect of how do you incorporate conference championship games, still make them meaningful, and then have this expanded playoff. How do you incorporate non-conference games that are high profile and meaningful, but not make them non-impactful for teams that are going to make the playoff anyway, because they've got the street cred and they're going to be able to go through a pretty difficult conference schedule. It's not an easy thing to incorporate from all those different angles.
Well, it's funny. I actually thought the biggest picture takeaway from Sig even bringing up the SEC or mentioning that quote was kind of just how he's able to dominate any appearance, dominate the room. He understands that every single time he shows up at a podium, it's a chance to dominate headlines, and he's going to say something that's going to get people talking. And every single time he's been able to do this, it makes Indiana football more relevant. It keeps them relevant. We're about to get another week-long cycle of Indiana's schedule in July. And all of that notoriety, all of that buzz just helps recruiting, helps push the brand forward. This is a football team, a football brand that and we talked about it when you came on the Indiana show a couple weeks ago. That was going to 4 overtimes with Akron. if anybody's played the new college football 26 video game, if you're not like completely familiar with the history of college football, like they're one of 2 0-star teams. It wasn't that much better 2-3 years ago. So the fact that like you have a team that was, and rightfully so, extremely irrelevant, to just 2 years later, he can set the country on fire talking about games that may or may not be played in 2 years. It's that speaks volumes. Like the other big thing Signetti talked about was that Indiana's got the second highest alumni base in the country outside of Texas. And there was a lot of Hoosier pride. And that goes hand in hand with building the brand and being able to be sustainable. And just he understands how to take advantage of these moments.
All right. I don't know what players are there for Indiana. You could fill us in on that and what you would like to hear from them.
Yeah, we got Aiden Fisher, obviously middle linebacker, captain. It's like it's funny, we did the Smokies like superlative type awards for 2025, and we have the Aiden Fisher I'd follow you off a cliff leadership award. Like he's just one of those like so easy to root for if you go and look at his story. Like this is his second media day appearance. He went as a junior last year too, and just if you had to pick one person to represent the Indiana football program, and I'm glad we have 3, but if it had to be one, it would be Aiden Fisher. Like the kid's just incredible. Elijah Surratt, unbelievable story as well. Like started at Division II, is going to be one of the best receivers in the country this year. Like just his work ethic, how humble he is. Like they're just good kids. Like they're really good kids. So just like the world getting to understand more of Elijah Surratt and seeing a little bit more of his personality. I'm very excited for that. And then Mikhail Kamara is there too. And he's going to have a lot of really big goals. And he's another kid who's just like humble, hungry, like just when you talk about like program representations and people you want to like root for, and just like Mikhail Kamara is another one of those guys. So I don't necessarily have any specific questions for them. I'm just glad that outside media, other than people in Bloomington, and obviously there's going to be a lot of Indiana media there too, but they get to meet these kids because like they really are great kids.
And so we will get through Big Ten media days here just in a few days on Thursday, and then we'll just be, I think, 1 week away, maybe 8 days away from the start of camp. So when this team takes the field for camp, what do you think is the most important thing for IU to get sorted out in August?
It's kind of funny because Sig is very much like he's going to compliment his team and then he's going to give them something like you need to work on. And so the thing he kept hammering over and over again was he likes a lot of the pieces, right? So the individual talent is really good. And of course, he's going to be harder on his team publicly than that is going to be the truth. But he was talking specifically about having them gel into a team. So yeah, you have all these elite pieces. How do they come together? Like you have Pat Coogan, who's brand new starting center, Mikowski, brand new right tackle, Fernando Mendoza, transfer quarterback, Roman Hemby, presumed starter, transfer running back. So you get a lot of really talented pieces coming in on the offense, but they're also in a lot like really important positions. So it's about taking fall camp and gelling as a team, because if these guys can come together and operate as a unit, like as far as talent goes, like you could pick an PFF, ESPN, Phil Steele, like they're one of a handful of schools bringing back the talent they are and the production they are. And again, if Mendoza hits his ceiling, sky's the limit for this team. Like they really are one of the most talented teams in the country.
All right, Alec, what's on tap for the big show tonight?
So we'll be diving full blown into media days. I know we kind of caught Minnie in the middle of all those different little breakouts, but I'll be doing my own like individual, trying to find each breakout as soon as they're posted or if they're going on live and get the Indiana side of it. So I'll have, every SIG breakout, I'll have Surratt and Fisher and Kamara and all their breakdowns for the show later. Indiana also just started its class of 2027. Quarterback Jamison Purcell committed, which is a massive deal. He's a highly touted kid, top 20 quarterback in that class. We'll talk about him as well. And I believe Brad is going to be on the Big Ten show later. So another appearance from Brad. And so we'll be all over the voice of college football this week. But yeah, 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be live talking everything media day.
Folks, the Indiana show and the Indiana channel are growing because of Alec and Brad's work. So get on over there tonight at 8 Eastern, correct?
Yes, sir.
8 Eastern for the IU show every Tuesday, not just tonight. Every Tuesday, join Alec and Brad as they get have a good time breaking down the Hoosiers. All right, Alec, appreciate you stopping by, man.
Appreciate you, Mark.
All right. It is 4:33 Eastern time. We've got the Iowa show, typically at 5:30, no longer at 5:30, now at 5 Eastern. And I didn't realize until just a few minutes ago how hectic my Tuesdays are going to be moving forward, because I record the Michigan podcast with Steve Dace. My segment on there, I should say, with Steve Dace every Tuesday. We got done at 3:58. So it should be a little bit sooner than that most weeks, but Steve and I wrapped up at 3:58, and I thought, boom, I got a show at 4 o'clock. So then I showed up with all of you, and we can take it till 5 Eastern, but we've got the Iowa Hawkeyes live show at 5 Eastern on the Hawkeyes channel, of course. And then we come back here with the Big Ten live show with Corey Bratta, and we've got a bunch of guests lined up. I believe we've got a bunch of guests lined up at 6 Eastern, with Minnie showing up again. Then we got Brad Loomis with the Indiana channel, Sonny Verma hopefully stopping by from Locked On Illinois, and hopefully Pat Murphy can stop by from Bucknuts 247 Sports, and everybody we can reel in for Big Ten Media Days on day one. Doreen's here. You just saw Minnie from Vegas. Now Doreen's here. And guess what? You get both of them on Sunday night, 9 Eastern. Doreen and Minnie and the ladies of college football. That's on a Sunday night. I got to say that I have always been locked in on Big Ten Media Days and all the other media days, start to finish. But I don't know what the deal is between running this business and having other business ventures until this one kicks in and makes a few bucks. I did not get a chance to listen to anything. Also, the issue is obviously they're on the West Coast, so it did not start until 1 this afternoon. So it wasn't like a bright and early 9 in the morning, boom, here we go, Big Ten Media Days. So they have just started there with the opening speeches from all the coaches and now the breakout sessions. So we have just begun at Big Ten Media Days on day 1. And no calls coming in. So it looks like it's an easy day for me. We go from Michigan Podcast to here to the Iowa show at 5 Eastern. Back here at 6 Eastern, we're going to, again, get another report from Minnie. A number of other guests going to join us for the Big Ten live show at 6 Eastern. And since we've got our buddy Christopher Foote here in the chat, I'm going to mention, Christopher, please listen to this. I was tending to some other business, and it was alerted to me that I needed to check my spam folder to retrieve something. I went into my spam folder, and I must have seen, this is not an exaggeration, 20 or 25 emails from Chris in the last couple of days. And yes, so Chris, you're not getting your emails to me. They're going to the spam folder, number one. Number two, I appreciate all of your analysis on all of these seasons from the 1980s and otherwise. I think you left out 1984, though. You may want to work on that one. But just post those to the comments section. Do me a favor and post those to the comments section of the videos. That would be great. And then other people can partake of your knowledge that way. All right. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. And we will see you for the Iowa show in just about 20 minutes on the Hawkeyes channel. See you then. Back here for the Big Ten live show at 6 Eastern.